I want you to take a look at this complaint. Ticketmaster fees are more than the tickets themselves. $34 for a pair of tickets, just over $42 in fees. Now, this is just one post on Reddit, and I could find you 100 more. But here's the headline from the US Department of Justice. What allowed this to happen, what enabled it, was against the law.
In recent years, Live Nation Ticketmaster's exorbitant fees and technological failures have been criticized by fans and artists alike. We are here because, as we allege, that conduct is anti-competitive and illegal.
The DOJ is suing Live Nation, the single biggest player in concert promotion in the US, which also happens to be the company that owns Ticketmaster, the single biggest ticketing platform in the US. The DOJ says it's an illegal monopoly that suffocates competition, locks artists and venues into exclusive contracts, and gouges fans with high prices.
We allege that Live Nation controls the live entertainment industry in the United States because it is breaking the law.
The lawsuit just dropped. So let's go through what it says and why the DOJ is so adamant that the way to fix this situation is for Live Nation and Ticketmaster to be broken apart. When we think of big concerts, we often think of Ticketmaster selling tickets. But by the DOJ's estimate, yes, through Ticketmaster, Live Nation controls at least 80% of primary ticketing at major concert venues, but it also controls more than 60% of the concert promotions business in the US. It owns or controls more than 60% of the country's large amphitheaters and directly manages more than 400 artists.
The result is that fans pay more in fees, artists have fewer opportunities to play concerts, smaller promoters get squeezed out, and venues have fewer real choices for ticketing services.
And this is important because it's a fundamental part of the DOJ's case, that Live Nation's monopoly hurts all players, including the artists who form the backbone of the industry.
Make sure you keep your masters so these assholes don't get shopping sprees. Fame is overrated and Live Nation's a monopoly.
Did you ever think when you were writing that verse that would explode into what it has?
Bro, it was such a lesson for me to be like, when you're speaking your truth or you're saying something that is like somewhat against the grain or whatever, just be prepared to like back it up.
That's behind the scenes footage from a band called Lawrence, where these two guys are talking about that line in one of their songs.
So it's easy for me to be like, Live Nation's a monopoly. I've been through this too. Check it out. These are the things I'm not afraid to say. And then it just so happens that you fast forward a year and you guys are talking before the Senate.
The tickets were listed at $30, and our pay ended up shaking out to about $12 of each ticket.
Live Nation's fees eclipsing even what the artists themselves make. It became a congressional issue last year, with lawmakers questioning artists, but also the president and CFO of Live Nation.
We need to make sure we have competition to bring prices down and bring innovation in and stop the fiascos.
And what would follow, according to some lawmakers, but also the DOJ lawsuit, was a predatory, self-reinforcing cycle.
The essential requirement of the illegal monopolization in the United States is that not only that you be big, but you be bad.
Because Live Nation owns so many major venues, it had the power to restrict artists' use of those venues unless those artists also agreed to use their promotion services. Those promoters it couldn't force out of business, it bought. And if any venue dared to work with one of Live Nation's competitors, they'd pay a price, losing Live Nation's business in the future. Venues and artists would be locked into long-term exclusive contracts, and by blocking out any attempt at outside competition, the biggest group of people who ultimately paid more than what's fair was the fans.
It is time for fans and artists to stop paying the price for Live Nation's monopoly. It is time to restore competition and innovation in the entertainment industry. It is time to break up Live Nation Ticketmaster.
Live Nation disputes much of what the DOJ alleges. For starters, it says It's not like we buy up a whole bunch of tickets and then sell them for whatever we think they're worth. We work with artists and venues to decide what costs get priced in. And as for all those fees,
Those include ticketing fees, service fees, convenience fees, platinum fees, price master fees, per order fees, handling fees, and payment processing fees, among others.
As you might imagine, Live Nation is not going to roll over and say, but of course, they are very well counseled. They have a very capable team. They're going to fight that.
Live Nation argues that's just transparency. They're not junk fees just because they're listed individually and then tacked onto the price. They're real costs for real things. And besides, would it really be any better if those fees were baked into a single number? No. The real culprit behind high ticket prices, they say, is simple supply and demand. People pay what tickets are worth, and if they weren't worth that amount, people wouldn't pay the price.
Live Nation's going to strive to show that they have been able to provide a better experience over time. That is, the arrangements that are seen as sinister actually have consumer benefits and have benefits for performers as well.
At this point, it's hard to know where this case goes or how long it'll take to get resolved.
Some monopolies are just so entrenched and some problems so difficult to address that they require decisive and effective solutions.
But what the DOJ is asking for, separating Live Nation from Ticketmaster, that's not going to happen quickly, if it happens at all.